What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well today. Today's track is going to be one track out of a group of 5, which will end up being 6. And the track that we're playing on today is called Maitland, and it's part of the Oceania MX bike series. Now, not being from Oceania myself, the time zones just don't match up with me when I'm playing the game, when I'm about for races. So it's something that I've not taken part on, and I've kind of not really paid much attention to. But scrolling through the shop today, I saw this one came out, and I thought, you know what, I've not tried any of the other ones, so let me download it and give it a go and see what it's all about. And I spanned 2 laps, not expecting to make a video out of this track at all, and I'm honestly quite blown away, but not for the usual reasons. So I thought it was worth its own video, and we'll get into it a little bit more once we start riding around. We'll explain why it's impressed me, but in terms of just the usual flyover, I think it looks very, very pretty as well. Of course, I am running Reshade right now, and when we get to the track, I am going to be running the quote-unquote realistic settings, so I hope you don't mind that at all. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. For all of you passionate gamers, you can now get 20% off all G Fuel products worldwide by using code LINS at checkout. And for any of you motorheads looking for some new drip or apparel, use code MXPR_LINS15 fxrracing.eu to get 15% off. All links and codes are in the description down below. Enjoy the video and drop a cheeky little like and subscribe. Okie dokie, so let me give you a little bit of information about this track. That was a very weird stutter. Before we do much else. So, the track is called Maitland. You know, it's a replica track, as all of these oceanic tracks are. It's part of what is going to be a 6-round series on MyMXB. I believe it's already, you know, going through the stages. You know, it's already in place. And this is round number 5. And like I said in the intro, they're tracks that, because I'm not racing on myself, I've not given them any real attention. You know, I've not really bothered to notice them at all. The tracks are created by Bishop, and I think they're like 75 cents each. And I've spun 2 laps on this track so far, and as soon as I did, I went on the saw and I purchased all of the other rounds, which I've not yet played, so I don't know if they all live up to this track standards. However, what I really like about this track in my first few laps around it, there's a sense of realism that I don't get on other tracks, but it's for different reasons. And I honestly think it's to do with, firstly, the way the ruts have been built, but then also the way the roughness has been built as well. I don't think I've played many, if not any, tracks before on this game where the roughness does such a good job of making you check up, like making you slow down for corners. Because if we was just... it's this ongoing struggle with trying to put real-life tracks into MX bikes, is a lot of the time they don't ride very well just because of the scaling. They feel quite small. And I firmly believe that if we remove the roughness on this track, it would probably be quite boring. But going into some of these corners, the way that the rough is built and the way that the ruts are angled, I feel like it just feels very realistic, and it feels very natural to how you would want to approach it in real life, especially with like super choppy straights like this, or little choppy braking bumps into this corner here. If you was to try and go in there Mach 10, or Mach 10, sorry for you Americans as well, you just wouldn't survive. You know, you'd be straight over the handlebars, or your front-ended knife going into the rut. And there's a real sense of being rewarded for being smooth around this track. Bishop's tracks aren't something that I've played much of. I've dabbled in 1 or 2 of them in the past. I think I've done a video on one of his tracks probably around over a year ago now, I want to say. It was quite a long time ago. And, oh, hold on to it, buddy. There's the old factory traction coming into play there. Lots of acceleration on these bikes. And I feel like he's definitely progressed a lot in terms of his track rating. I know he was recently added into the Earthworks MX Bikes Discord, where I guess you'd say the more, I wouldn't say well-known, I guess like more developed track creators are in there, people that have kind of been around the block for a while now and can share all of their little secrets with each other. But yes, I haven't played one of his tracks in a long time, and I really am impressed with the rough on this, and I've not seen people talking about it either. And part of me thinks that it is just because it's to do with the Oceania series that not that many people play. I think they're anywhere between like 10 to 12 hours ahead of me at any given point, so a lot of the time the races would be like first thing in the morning for me, and I have no desire to roll out of bed and hop straight onto MX bikes. It's not really my thing. But to be able to hop on the game and play these outside of racing from a realistic standpoint, when I hop into this onboard view where I've got the Max HUD like helmet / goggles overlay, I've got the reshade settings in here as well, which, by the way, a lot of people have been asking me about them reshade settings and when they're going to release. Peck is still working on them. He wants to make a few different variations of it before he releases it. So have no fear, it is in progress. But as I said, he's not like he's not the usual gamer like you and I. He doesn't sit here all day every day on his PC just banging out the game or working on things for the game. He sounds like he's got a life and, you know, got a job and things like that, so he just finds the time when he can. But he is working on it. So to anyone that's slid in my DMs asking me for it, the answer is just going to be no all the time. You know, it's not fair if I say yes to some and no to others. It's just a flat no across the board until Peck gets around to releasing it to the masses. And oddly enough, when I run these settings, I find myself just hopping on the game to play for a bit of fun now and then, like in the evenings, like late at night, just by myself in testing. And I think it's slowed the game down for me a little bit. And without changing my FOV in-game, I think I'm still running 115 FOV. The game feels slower, which I know not everyone's going to like, and it's the same reason that I feel like this track that I'm playing right now isn't going to be everyone's cup of tea, so to speak. Got to throw some British terminology in there. It's not going to be everyone's idea of fun, I guess is the better way of wording it, purely because of the speeds. You know, we're not going like 5th gear wide open around all the corners, and people are more than welcome to enjoy the game in whichever way they see fit. At this moment in time, for me, I'm really enjoying trying to add a little bit of realism and slowing the game. English? Hello?
English, motherfucker! Do you speak it?
And slowing the game down for myself a little bit, and just feeling like I'm a bit more immersed in it, and I'm going speeds that if I was to load up YouTube and I was to watch someone actually who can ride bikes well IRL record a little GoPro of them riding around these tracks, this is kind of the speed that I'd expect them to be going at. If I'm completely honest, I don't feel like I'm setting the world on fire right now, but I'm trying to be smooth. You know, I'm trying to start the corners at the start of ruts, be nice and smooth and follow them all the way around. The ruts on this track are built in a way where a lot of different ruts merge into each other, but there's one or two sections on this track, like split sections, that I think he's done a very good job in adding some realism there, because it's not just like, oh, there is an inside or there's an outside. Within each split section themselves, he's then got an inside and an outside of each split. So you can go inside of the inside, outside of the inside, inside of the outside, outside of the outside, and so on. Like this corner here, once I finish absolutely wadding my brains out. So this corner right here, it's very unrealistic to imagine in real life, if you was to hit this corner, everyone would just be hitting this part and that's it. You know, it's not really the fastest way, and because of the angle of the corner, it might build up a little bit differently. The way that the ruts are built on this track, it leads me to believe that this track in real life is a little bit loamy. I've done no research on this, but that's how the track rides. That's how it feels like it should ride. So to then have this inside built up on the inside itself, I think is really, really cool. And he's done exactly the same thing a bit later on in the lap, where there's another split section. Like corners like this, you know, it filters to the inside, but the inside's super, like really deep to accommodate for that. It's as if everyone has just been going to the inside all throughout the day. I like that this straight here is super, super rough going along it, so you can't get too much speed up. The rough going into this inside makes you slow down a little bit, so you can't just go super quickly. And if anything, it opens up the turns for multiple lines as well. You know, if there's lots of rough going to the inside and you have to slow down, then alternatively you could try and carry a bit more speed to the outside and try and go around the outside of someone. I love this corner here where it's nice and slow. We have the little bump, and then once you get up and over the bump, you can get on the power, you know, sit down, lean the bike over and get going again. So to Bishop, I don't know how many of my videos he watches, to be fair, but to Bishop, massive pat on the back. You know, I feel like these tracks should get a lot more recognition than they do. And even bits like this here, it's not massive.
That's what she said!
You might not even be able to see it on YouTube too well, but there is an inside line here of the inside, and same with the outside, there's an inside of the outside. So I think lots of thought and work has gone into this. And it's nice seeing him progress, because he's gone from someone who, in the past, I believe, I don't know if this was confirmed or not actually, and Bishop, I apologise if I'm speaking poorly on your name here when it's not true. I believe he took some of the MX Simulator base height maps of tracks and then just modified them slightly to be his tracks in MX bikes. But I feel like this is all from scratch now, and I think he has definitely come such a long way, so it's really, really nice to see. And it's got me quite excited actually to try out the remaining 4 that were already out, and 100% I'll be keeping my eye out for the final one, which will be round 6, which I'm guessing is next week. I think there's been one a week. I have no idea how long he's been working on each of these tracks. I don't know if, say, he started work a couple of months prior to the start of the season, or if it's just a case of he's done it on a week-by-week basis. I know that he had some trouble, not the other day, but a little while back. Blender was being weird with him, his computer was just like saying no, and I remember him getting quite stressed out, and now I realised why, because it's not just a random track he's making, it's a track for a series. So yeah, I imagine that can be quite stressful, but it looks like he's got through any of the problems, he's persevered, and actually made a really, really enjoyable track out of it. And I know some people are going to be like, oh, Lians, all you do is cover paid tracks these days, blah, blah, blah. They are kind of the best quality in the game at the moment. Of course, you're going to get anomalies, all, like here and there. Obviously, you get people like Fat Muppet and people like Kells, they still release free tracks that are absolute bangers. There is another free track coming up very shortly, by the way, by one of my favourite track creators at the moment, which is going to be free, and I'm very, very excited for that. I think all of you are going to absolutely love it. So keep your eyes on MXV Mods. I think you're going to be very, very happy people when all is said and done and it's finally released. And this video it's not going to be the longest one in the world by any means. We're probably looking at around 10 minutes or so. But I felt like I wanted to show it off for you, because it's nice when I come across, like, I don't think hidden gems even the word, it's been there, like it's in the public eye, everyone can see it. But I think because of what it is and the crowd that it's meant for, and I feel like the Oceania community, what is in Oceania? Is it just Australia and New Zealand? Or is it expandable on that? My geography is very, very poor, by the way, so I apologise if anyone takes any sort of offence to anything like that. But to whoever it kind of involves within that community, it's quite small. I mean, Australia is one of my larger demographics in terms of watching my videos, but just because of the time of day that I'm playing, I don't really bump into many of them. It's only really like Chicken that I talk to, who's an Aussie, and then outside of that, the only time that I really talk to any of you Aussies or Kiwis in my chat or live streams is when we're streaming at like ungodly hours, when we're doing like the donator-thons and I'm entering the graveyard shift for me usually. That's when you boys come out to play, because we're just on the other side of the world, and that's how it is sometimes. But you guys should be very, very, very grateful that you've got some nice tracks to play on here. And since they're replicas, I feel like it's even more impressive. Like if you ride these tracks IRL and you get someone that does a good job on them and makes them ride realistic like this, I'd be very happy if someone like turned up and started releasing all of the UK tracks, but to this sort of scaling and this sort of roughness, so you do have to like check up everywhere and really be careful with the ruts. And it's nice. It's a nice change of pace, is all I can say. It's just a long-winded way of saying, if you want to slow down the game a little bit for yourself, you want to add a little bit more realism to your life rather than hitting everything wide open all the time, then definitely give it a go. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and Bishop, thank you very much for releasing this. I'm very excited to try out the other ones now after trying this one, and hopefully I've done it some sort of justice. Again, it's the game is not easy to play in these settings at all. Like it really does distort my sense of speed sometimes, so I'm going faster than I think I am because of the perspective, so sometimes I'll just overshoot corners, or you saw there, just go way too fast through the rough stuff. But I am learning, I'm getting there, but this is my favourite way of playing the game right now, so hopefully you guys don't mind seeing it from this perspective. And yeah, if you've enjoyed, please do drop a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'd always appreciate all of you new people coming every single day, and have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're up to. Catch you guys next time. Peace.